Hello friends, myself Lakhna Meena, Assistant Professor English from Government College Chandala. You are welcome in my YouTube channel. Today we will study a prayer for my daughter, the 5 Eats. We want to know about W.E. before reading it. Eats was born in Dublin in 1865. His lifespan is divided almost equally between the 19th and 20th century. He was born of Protestant parents. His father, John Butler, was a painter. Eads received his early education in London, but later shifted to Dublin, where he studied art for about 3 years. He did not receive formal education at a university and regretted this throughout his life. He founded the Irish Literary Society in 1891 and was responsible some years later for the Irish Literary Theatre. He concentrated on ancient songs and legends of Ireland. He was elected to the Senate of the Irish Free State in 1922 to 1928. He was given the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. He was married in 1917. Its works may be divided into 4 phases corresponding to which we have the 4 stages in the development of his poetic style. He started writing in the tradition of the pre-Raphaelites, and the poetry of this phase has a dreamlike atmosphere and the style is highly ornamental. The Lake Isle of Innisfree belonged to this period. After his marriage started the period of his interest in theology, physical phenomena, and mysticism in general. He developed his own private symbolism. The mysticism of the East also attracted him. The final phase of its career was marked by a return to the passionate life. He began writing poems as old and passionate as the dawn, and his life was marked by a greater austerity in style and a greater precision in the use of language. His plays like the Countess Kathleen, the King's Threshold, and Dare Dare are famous. It is well known for his The Wild Swans at Cooley, Michael Robert Tage, and The Dancer, and The Tower and the Winding Star. His earliest verses, The Wanderings of Osrine, employed the Irish legend. His other famous works are The Wind Among the Reeds, 1899, and The Seven Woods, 1903. The Green Helmet, 1910, Responsibility, 1914, A Vision, 1925, and Last One, 1939. Now we will study the introduction of the poem. The poem was written in 1990, a few weeks after the birth of its eldest child, a girl. The poet had purchased the old tower or castle at Thur Valley, renovated it, and settled there soon after his marriage. This tower or castle forms the background to this prayer, which runs into 80 lines, divided into 10 stanzas of 8 lines each. The poem expresses the poet's solitude for his infant daughter. Professor Jasmine Jain writes, this is a tender lyric expressive of the poet's concern for his young daughter, Annie, born in 1990. When the First World War had just got over, the poem is marked by a strong protective attitude and a prayer for a balanced life of happiness of a young child. There is uncertainty and an instability in the world outside. The future appears to be equally uncertain. In these circumstances, the poet prayed that may the gifts of God be such as to endue the young child with quality which would win a present happiness. The poet is in a gloomy mood, partly through grave concern at the turbulence in society and partly through anxiety for the future of the child in a world which is growing harsher and coarser every day. The poem is a manifesto of Yeats's personal ideals in old age of settled life with a home and established status. The world ceremony is a key word in Yeats and the books of courtesy. Now we will study the half part of the poem. Once more the storm is blowing, howling, and half dead under its cradle hood and coverlid my child sleeps on. There is no obstacle but Gregory's wood and one where hill, here by the haystack and wood living pine. Bread on the Atlantic can be stayed, and for an hour I have walked and prayed because of the great gloom that is in my mind. I have walked and prayed for his young child and how and heard the wind scream upon the tower and under the arches of the bridge and scream in the arms above the flooded stream. Imagining in a sated reverie that the future years had come, dancing to a frenetic drum out of the murderous innocence of the sun. See the explanation of this stanza. These lines are from W.B. Yeats' poem entitled A Prayer for My Daughter. Yeats wrote this poem soon after the birth of his daughter Annie Butler Yeats. There is nothing unusual about an affectionate father's praying for the future prosperity and well-being of a child. However, the poem derives an added significance and poignancy from the vision of approaching anarchy with the poet described in the prophetic poem, The Second Coming. This explains the poet's gloom mentioned in the first stanza of the poem. Next, the poem is in gloomy mood, partly through his grave concern at the turbulence in society, and partly through anxiety for the future of his newly born daughter Annie Butler Yeats. He finds that this world in which she is born is growing harsher and harsher. The poet's daughter sleeps quietly in her cradle, half hidden under the cradle hood and the coverlet. Outside the storm is howling again. There are no berries except Lady Gregory's wood and a bare hill which can check the speed of the stormy wind coming from the Atlantic and pulling down haystacks and house roofs. Inside the poet's mind there also blows a storm of great gloom. The poet has begged and prayed for his infant daughter for about an hour. He has heard the Atlantic wind howl outside his house in the Thur Valley top under the arches of the stream bridge and also among the elms upon the hillside of the flooded stream. The storm has excited in him fear that the destructive future years have arrived at last, and they have come dancing to a maddening drum beat as if out of the dangerous calm of the Atlantic. So, like an affectionate father, he prays for his daughter's safety in a world which is growing more and more unsafe and anarchy. देखिए इसमें क्रिटिकल नोट्स फर्स्ट पॉइंट है इमेजिनिंग imagining and excited, aware that the future years had come, dancing to a present drum out of murderous innocence of the soul. Notice the fanciful visionary nature of the poet. The storm beating upon the sense scene is compared to a wild dance of the future years. Second, murderous innocence. An example of oxymoron, the just a position in incompatible or contradictory words. The size often the size often murderous and destructive, but innocent because the destruction is not international intention. Third, the violence of nature streams symbolic of a large violence, the murderous innocence of the soul. The image recalls the mere anarchy and bloom tide of the second coming. The poet also has in mind the World War, the Irish Civil War, and the inhumanity of the modern 20th century world. In such a setting, how can the swarth, the child in this cradle, escape the nightmare violence to be born in Bethlehem when the rough beast of the second coming lie rocking where Christ had once been cradled?